Pokemon Horizons Episode 7, Special Training Captain Pikachu just came out, let's talk about it. The episode begins with Nidothing's secret identity being revealed. Okay, not quite, but we do in fact see that it's not Ludlow, but actually an 8th member to the Rising Voltaculars. She has some purple hair that's kind of reminiscent of Miss Magius, and it does look pretty cool. She's also editing a brand new video. After that we get the intro, and I don't think I brought it up yet, but the Pokemon Horizons intro is such a banger. I really love the song. The Japanese openings have been such a banger for a long time now that it isn't a surprise, but still I thought I'd mention that, and the fact that it got updated a little bit to include Rayquaza during Roy's segment too. After the first minute of the episode being relegated to recapping the events of the last few episodes, we finally begin the episode with Roy challenging Liko to a battle and then battling each other. The battle isn't too noteworthy as we just see Roy and Liko spamming Ember and Leafage at each other, until it ends in a tie because both of them are too lazy to keep on battling. This battle is super reminiscent of the first trainer battle you do at the arrival in every Pokemon game where you just spam these moves. Friede calls everyone in for a meeting, and in the meeting he takes Liko and Roy's phone for a second to install a Pokédex app on their phone. There's also a Rising Voltaculars app on the phone, which is how they communicate with one another. Roy states that he's going to make sure to register Rayquaza in the Pokédex, but then feels a little bit down because they actually don't know where it went. That's when Friede reveals that there's actually an 8th member that we haven't seen yet named Dot, and surely she can help figure out where Rayquaza went. Friede suggests that they go and ask her directly, and then Roy faintly hears some music. As Liko and Roy approach the door and start asking Dot some questions, a Quaxly comes flying out of the door. Roy wastes no time to bust out his Pokédex and registers Quaxly. Kinda reminded me of Go here. Quaxly was holding a letter, and when they open it up, it's revealed to be Roy fallen over and Fuecoco knocked out, perhaps foreshadowing events in the episode. Who knows? They leave since Dot doesn't want to talk to them, and they go back to the control room to talk to Friede. They ask him to give him a special training so that they can get better in battle. Roy says that right now him and Fuecoco aren't strong enough to battle Rayquaza if they ever encounter again, which is totally true. And with Liko, it's yet another sad story with emotional music playing in the background as she recalls how her and Sprigatito couldn't defeat Amethio on their own. Like, seriously girl, you gotta stop having these every single episode. Please. Friede agrees to train them up, and just then we get our daily narrative exposition from Nidothing, who explains that Pokemon battles are a way for trainers and Pokemon to get stronger together. We see that Quaxly is with Ludlow as they sit on to watch, and I wonder if this is Nidothing's Quaxly or if there are two different Quaxly living on board of the ship. My guess that it's just one, but who knows for now. As Liko and Roy get prepared to face off against Friede and Charizard, Pikachu makes a grand appearance, and honestly, it was just amazing. Almost as amazing as you, if you hit the like button if you're enjoying the recap and review thus far. Now that Pikachu is ready to fight, Friede states that all they need to do is hit Pikachu just once, and if they do that, then they're the winners. With instructions as easy as that, you know that it's not going to go well for the two protagonists. Just like in the opening battle, Liko and Roy spam Embers and Leafage, but of course Cap isn't going to get hit by either of those two attacks, and he effortlessly dodges every single one of them. The peak of the battle begins when Cap goes for a double team, and Sprigatito and Fuecoco have no shot at getting him. Liko notices that it's not just spawning infinite clones, but rather he's cloning himself at the end. Just as they figure out their strategy, Fuecoco and Sprigatito fall to the floor and refuse to keep on going with their battle, making Cap the winner. After a banquet that was provided by Murdock goes down the hatch for everyone, it's time for yet another battle, the third one of this episode, this time again between Liko and Roy. This battle goes much better than the first, as thanks to Captain Pikachu's training they have both been fired up. After hearing Friede's advice that Pokemon battles aren't just a solo person's battle but rather a team one, they both understand what must be done. Roy fires off a powerful Ember and Sprigatito goes for Quick Attack on its own, passing through Ember and knocking out Fuecoco in the process. Basically, Sprigatito learned this while battling with Captain Pikachu, so it was good to see some progress made in that venue. With that, Roy's Fuecoco faints on screen for the first time and Sprigatito still hasn't been knocked out once. It also gives Liko her first on-screen victory and makes poor Roy 0-2-1 in today's 3 battles, making him the biggest loser of today's episode. At least it was revealed that Fuecoco learned Tackle, but I don't think that it's going to be used that much, same with Sprigatito learned Scrap. Roy handles the defeat very well as expected, thanking Cap for their training and promising to Liko that they won't lose the next time that they battle. Just then, he gets a message from Dot telling them to come to her room. Once again, Quaxly comes out of the room, handing off a letter with a picture of Paldea and with Rayquaza flying above it. At first, I thought that this was Sootopolis for some reason. Anyways, it seems that they got Dot's approval and that she'll become a powerful and helpful ally to the pair. I think that we'll eventually see Dot's full appearance, but it might not happen anytime soon. Also, it doesn't seem that Liko and Roy know that Dot is Nidothing, and I'm sure it's going to make for some interesting interactions between the characters, seeing as they're both big fans of the streamer. This episode was such a much needed slowdown after all the drama going on in the past 6 episodes. We got a power level boost for the protagonists, which they desperately needed seeing as how they are both very weak trainers, and their Pokemon aren't particularly strong yet either. I'm sure that we're going to see the fruits of their labor pay off at some point, perhaps with the next interaction with the explorers. They fit in 3 different battles in this episode very well. Despite the fact that Liko and Roy were present in all 3, I felt that the pacing of the battles themselves was fine, albeit lackluster. Again, I totally think that this episode was very needed narratively, however, the animation, while getting a little worse, was great by me, and I absolutely love the battle OST for Horizons. I'm gonna be giving this episode a 5 out of 10. That makes it thus far the worst rated episode in the series thus far by me, and drops the series average rating to a 7.6. It doesn't mean that it was bad, nope, it was just average at best for me. At least realistically, it's nice to see that we are quickly getting development for Liko and Roy's Pokemon, as Journeys did a horrible job in developing the Pokemon from the cast. In the preview for the next episode, we see that it's going to once again focus around Nidothing and on Dot. It looks like the Rising Voltaculars need to dock somewhere and perhaps run some errands, but since Roy loses the Junkin, he needs to stay on the ship and look over everything. It also looks like Liko will stay on board, and that's how we're going to see them finally meeting up with Dot. Something about this kind of tells me that they in fact won't be meeting her, but who's to know. I just feel that her not showing herself will be like a recurring gag until she finally makes like a grand appearance, but that's just me. What do you think? Another thing that I haven't mentioned until now is the outro. It's a really fun bop of having Roy and Liko rap some Pokemon names, and each week they have a different member of the Rising Voltaculars tag along. I think it makes for a really fun and interactive outro, so I've been watching and tagging along and trying to rap, but I can't even say 1 or 2 Pokemon without getting my tongue twisted. Each week they have a different member of the Rising Voltaculars participate, and this week it was Ludlow, and it was just as funny as you'd imagine. Do you think highly of this intro? One thing's for sure, I'm sure that there's a single-digit percentage of people who would prefer Pokemon Shiratori to this one. Like, there's just no way that these two are even comparable in my opinion. Did you know that since Dawn's Ambipom, Roy's Fuecoco was the first Pokemon owned by a main character that debuted before the trainer's first appearance? I don't know, I thought it was cool. What about you? If you want to watch the entirety of today's episode for yourself, then I highly suggest you head over to my Discord server, as you might be able to find exactly what you're looking for. Big shout out to everyone you see on screen right now. Every week as the episode drops, we get lots of discussion and theories thrown in there right away, so it's really fun waiting for the new episode to drop together. We also talk about Pokemon and many other things over there, so click the link in the description and become a part of the posse today. Today's episode had 3 battles, so that got me thinking about today's question of the day. Today's question of the day is, besides Friede, who do you think is the strongest battler aboard the Brave Asagi? Seeing what we saw in episode 5, I think that the strongest would either be Orla or Mollie. Had Metagross not been tired out from the repairs on the previous day, I feel like she would have performed a lot better. Who do you think is the answer? Let me know using the hashtag QOTD so I know you're a real one. Don't forget to hit the like button if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, if you made it this far into the video, I want to say that I truly appreciate you. But with that being said, it's been your boy Luap, and I'm out. Peace.